Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo Day back with another video. In this video I'll be showing you my build guide for Scarlet Witch, and then I'll be showing you how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial. I'll be showing you as far as which uniques I use, which artifacts, which medallion, where I place my power points, my Omegas, Hero Synergies, and at the very end I'll be showing you my rotation and how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial with Scarlet Witch with Euthania's build. Again, I did use roughly 3,000 Omegas, give or take here and there. So again, it's not that difficult to pass Cosmic Trial with Scarlet Witch because she is pretty powerful, and so I'll be showing you as far as again where I place my Omegas and all that stuff. So, and at the very end, show you my rotation. So let's get right into it. So artifacts, I use Essence of Dread for the critical hit rating and for the health and mental damage rating. Very beneficial because she's all mental. Advanced Super Soldier Serum for the spirit, health, defense rating, and deflect rating, and a little bit of the spirit recovery per second. Again, maybe not the best artifact to use for her, but it does the job. Dr. Doom Medallion for the power duration, 25 plus spirit and damage rating and health. Mental Focus Headband, mental damage because it gives you mental damage rating, plus 2 energy, plus 6% power radius and deflect rating. This is very useful. So if you have this, definitely put this on her. I believe you get this from MODOK, I'm not too sure, but this is very useful artifact, so you definitely want to put it on her. And then I use Mayhem Demon Blood for the health and the damage for ranged powers, and plus 2 fighting, plus 2 speed when you stack up to 10. Now for uniques, for the slots, I use all of her uniques except for one. Slot 1, I use Heavily Modified Mercenary Assault Rifle. I use this for the critical hit rating, critical damage rating, the damage rating to bosses, or damage rating to range powers. But more importantly, it gives you plus 3 to all powers, but also plus 6 to range powers. And all of her attacks with this build, they're all ranged. So you put 2 and 2 together, that's 9. That's plus 9 on her power points right off the bat, just with this unique alone. So that's very useful, and this is the reason why I chose this unique. You can get this through, I believe it's Crossbones, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Crossbones, not too sure, but if you have this, definitely use it for anything, any character with range. Specifically if you have it for, let's say, like in the Punisher or Winter Soldier, this would be very useful unique, so just keep that in mind. But this is a unique I use for slot 1, and everything else is all Scarlet Witch uniques. For the ring, I use Industrial City for the mental attacks, critical damage rating, and then for the health. The costume, grade 1 for critical damage rating, and then for the core, I use the one that gives you plus 1 energy, and then regenerate 25% of your health when you do medkit, and you get obviously 100 spirit when you use a medkit. Insignia, I use Scarlet Witch, coincidentally. It's funny. And then when you critically hit with a mental power, you and your allies gain mental damage rating, brutal strike rating, and mental powers with 412 brutal damage rating. And then for the pet, I have it to where it gives you plus 5% total dodge rating, 50 spirit, plus 2% to damage, base damage to area powers, plus 2 to basic powers, and plus 1 to all attributes. Maybe not the best pet setup, but it did its job, I guess. But it'll do. Now for the powers, I put 4 in Hex Bolt, maxed out Chaos Rift, 7 Chaos Shift, nothing there. Chaotic Hex, max that out. Chaos Magic, max that out. I can't even pronounce this. Can't even pronounce it, but this one, plus max this out. Obfuscation. I can't even pronounce it, but anyways, max this one out. Hex Sphere, max that out. Beast from Beyond, max that out. Signature, of course, you want to max that out, and then Chaos Warp, max that out. There we go. So it shows you right here. I used 3,000 Omegas, give or take. So let's just see where I placed them. New enhancement, nothing there. Arcane Attunement, 4 for Zerathos because he gives you the extra damage or damage rating, brutal strike, and critical hit rating with mental powers. Interstellar Exploration, 1 for Earth for the base damage and spirit cost reduction, and then Ego the Living Planet for the +1 durability, speed, and energy. Special weapons, I use it for Vanquish, Sniper Rifle, Assault Rifles, and Tactical Pistol because it gives you the extra damage to range attacks. And then Focus Plasma Cannon, one there, you get extra damage to range attacks. I probably would not use this, probably take this out, but I believe I did. Chose one here, so I can put one for 99 Pistol because it gives you the extra base damage to range powers. But if I did that, I would definitely use more than 3,000, so I figured, you know what, I'll just take this out. That's why I chose it. So if you're wondering why would I use this, I use it because I wanted to place one here for 99 Pistol, but if I did place it here, I would be using over the 3,000 mark. So mutation.
I shall wait if I must.
Mutation, obviously 4 for Warpath for the fighting. Radioactive oranges, nothing. Nanotechnology, 3 Spin Tech for the damage to bosses. QB Mutation, nothing. Psionics, ooh, it's a lot of the stuff here, but 5 to Melt Phase for the brutal damage rating. 3 to Master Telepath for the extra base to mental damage. Psionic Vampire, when you deal damage with mental power, you regenerate 120 health, very useful. Telepathic Bolt, you deal 15,000 damage minimum by move speed by 20% for 10 seconds. Not the best, but I use it for this. Scan and Destroy, 1% chance to deal 1,800 mental damage when you hit. So you do a lot of hits with her, and I'll show you how. Molecular Adjustment, 2 for Anti-Genesis for the +2 energy, mental defense rating, and deflect rating, and that's it. Hero Synergies for Cable for the critical hit rating, Dr. Doom for the signature, Strange for the mental, Ghost Rider for the critical hit rating, mental powers, Hawkeye for the move speed and critical damage, Human Torch for the area damage. Let's see what else. Rogue for the spirit and health on an in hit, and then Scarlet Witch for the damage over time. War Machine for the spirit and +1 fighting, and then Wolverine for the brutal damage, brutal strike. Alright, so let's get right into as far as the rotation. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry I had to move some stuff here. So let's go into the rotation. She is fairly easy to play with. Alright, so what I usually do is this. What you want to do is set up Chaos Rift, because that does a lot of damage over time. So, see, look. I just continue. It's very similar to Black Panther, where you set up those things. I forgot what it's called, but you set up those things on the bottom, on the ground. And so what you always want to do is you always want to set this up. These. Just like that. Just 3 of them. But before I even continue with it, my team up was magic, and then the way I placed them is this: Chaos Hex, Chaotic Hex, Chaos Rift, Chaos Warp, Hex Fear, Beast from Beyond, and then Signature, and then obviously Chaos Shift. So again, what you want to do is whenever you're fighting, especially for Cosmic Trial, you want to set this up first. Okay, after that you want to use Beast from Beyond. That's a very good one. Look at all that extra damage it's doing. Look at that. It's not even doing anything. And then I usually use Hex Fear when this is fully maxed out. That's why you see me like move around a lot, or you see me use Chaos Warp. I use this just to kind of, when there's a lot of enemies around, like for instance, if you're doing Cosmic Trial and there's a lot of enemies around here, I'll use Chaos Warp. Obviously you want to use Chaos Rift first. Set it up and then use Chaos Warp. That way you can do a lot of damage. So look something like this. See what I mean? So if I'm just doing like a single target, then obviously you want to set up Chaos Rift. And once that's set up, you want to use Beast from Beyond, and then once that's up and this is full, you definitely want to use Hex Fear. This is very, very powerful. And so again, set this up with Chaos Rift, then use Beast from Beyond, and then use Chaos Fear. So it looks something like this. And just use your regular Chaotic Hex. And that's really my rotation. The only time I use Hex Bolt is just when I am low on Spirit, so I use that. That way I don't consume Spirit. But other than that, that's really my rotation. Again, set up Chaos Rift, and then depending on if it's like a lot of enemies around, like where you have to do a lot of area damage, use Chaos Warp. If not, definitely use Chaotic Hex. But you can definitely use Chaotic Hex if there's a lot of enemies around, if you want to do a lot of area damage. But for me personally, I use Chaos Rift, set it up, and then I use Chaos Warp and just move around. Just move around. And then I use definitely Beast from Beyond. It's very powerful. And then once this is full, Hex Fear, and then I use this. I use these three. But cool thing about Hex Fear is that not only does it does damage, but it kind of goes through the enemies. So it looks something like this. So you just dead damage to the person here and then here. So I'm saying this that way when you're playing Cosmic Trial, you want to set it up to where you're behind, like you have enemies lined up. So when you use Hex Fear, you do damage to all three. Does it make sense? That's why it can get a little complicating in a way, because if you're doing a lot of damage, a lot of area damage, a lot of enemies around, and you want to use Hex Fear, you know, I mean, you're trying to line up as many enemies as you can. It can be a little challenging because you kind of move, figure out what's the right spot. But if you want to avoid that, you can just set it up with Chaos Rift, and then use Chaos Warp, and then Beast from Beyond if you want to. But again, single target, you definitely want to use Chaos Rift, Hex Fear, and then Beast from Beyond, and just keep doing damage with it, Chaotic Hex. Now Signature, very useful because it refills up your, correct me if I'm wrong, but it refills up your Hex Fear, and then it allows you to do it. Yeah, figured. So there you go. So that's what you want to use Hex Fear. You want to use up all of it first, and then use Signature, and then that way fills it up, and then use Hex Fear again, because again, that's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful, and that is really it. That is my rotation. Really, I don't know what else to say. That's my build guide for Scarlet Witch. Again, she's very simple. This is what I use to pass Cosmic Trial. You again set up Chaos Rift. Once it's set up, if you're doing a single target, definitely use Hex Fear and Beast from Beyond. If not, if it's you doing a lot of damage to your area with a lot of enemies around, it's not just an individual single target, definitely set up Chaos Rift. Do Beast from Beyond for wherever many enemies are at, and then just use Chaos Warp. And then once you do that a lot of damage, then just stick with Chaotic Hex. And that's really it. And then once you waste Hex Fear, definitely use Signature, replenish Hex Fear, and then use it again. And that's really it. That's how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial with Scarlet Witch. Again, she's fairly simple, mental damage. Maybe this is not the best build, but again, if I was able to pass Cosmic Trial with this build, I'm sure anyone can pass Cosmic Trial with Scarlet Witch with more than 3,000 megas and probably having better artifacts or better build. So yeah, that is it. That is my build guide for Scarlet Witch. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. If you have any requests regarding a certain character you want me to do a build guide or do Cosmic Trial, please feel free to again let me know. Alrighty, thanks. Bye bye.